Review and resolution. We have two items on our information-only items. One is new business from City Council, and Councilor McFall has added an item to discuss public comment. And then we have the City Manager's performance review. Both of those are information-only items, so there will be no public comment during those actual items. So anybody wishing to speak to either item should do so now at the open public comment. All right, Kathy, you are first up.
Point of clarification, Madam Mayor. I didn't put a new business item on to discuss public comment. I put a new business item to discuss a realignment of the agenda. It was not about public comment.
Okay, all right. I guess what I saw, I thought it was public comment. So thank you for the clarification.
I appreciate that.
All right, we go to public comment now. Kathy, you're first up.
Kathy Bullard, Ward 2, an ordained clergy, and also a fine member of the much maligned Trust Commission. Although tonight's agenda is full, I've been led to speak about the meaning of something important that happened last night, and that's the annual menorah lighting ceremony of the Hebrew Hanukkah observance. Outside the Loveland Museum, the small crowd on a very chilly night radiated community warmth. And did I see, or I only imagine, Mayor Marsh, Councilor Foley, City Manager Steve Adams, and Fire Chief Tim Sindelbeck actually kind of working together to shield the light and trying to make sure that the light for the menorah did not go out. They were actually somehow, I think, working together, cooperating. It was great. So Hanukkah celebrates the light overcoming darkness. It's a renewal of hope. In today's world, there is much darkness, mistrust, and hatred. In addition to racism, homophobia, sexism, ageism, and classism, anti-Semitism has proliferated. My understanding from somebody who knows is that some Jewish households are apprehensive this year about placing their lighted menorah in the window, as is the custom, because of their apprehension that they could be significantly harmed. I could say more, but leave it at this. I'm asking that tonight, in this holy season and longer, that when we speak our truth, may it be in words of civility and respect, words of hope, and finally of love. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Is there additional public comment?
Hello, council members and Madam Mayor, Kat McManus, District 2. I am here tonight to speak on possible ideas and thoughts that are running through my head. And really, it brought me to, how did we get here? How do we get to this point that our very own council is altering the system of our justice system? Many of you have said that the city council meetings have become unmanageable and out of hand. When I see management problem, I look at the management team. And now, unfortunately for us, that falls on Steve Adams. More work for our city manager. From records since, sorry, I'm a little nervous. From your records, since we are at this point, that City Council is trying to change the system to remove my First Amendment. This is a strategy to deplete and exhaust our public from getting to speak. I suggest you higher your standards of our city manager and make it possible to schedule your agenda appropriately, that all matters will get a time frame that they need. Councilmember Ball, I do hold you to a higher standard being an active attorney of our law, and I'm surprised you have not noticed the mismanagement done by Steve Adams, and reached out to him to correct these actions. I know a few meetings ago, Steve admitted to removing an item off the agenda. An item that was including himself seemed to be a conflict of interest and could manage our meeting more efficient. Lost my place, glorious. Pretty much Steve took it off the agenda, and that seems a conflict of interest, possibly illegal. Now, so if he is altering the agenda, and which he is, isn't it possible that he could manage these meetings more efficiently and alter things? And that way he can work for you to make these meetings more efficient. Hold your employees to a higher standard. Hold Steve to a higher standard. He is your manager. He is able to schedule these things efficiently for you. Public comment should not be getting in the way of you having an efficient meeting. There are ways to get about this and not removing the time that we get to speak when we get to speak. This is a strategy. It is. We all see it. At 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, there's a lot of people who are unable to speak at that time. If we managed it more correctly, we could have time where I filled out on the internet, the website. I also came and filled out a card. Why is it that we're not referencing our cards and letting those people speak, managing those comments throughout our meetings? I've been to many other council member meetings that you have to fill out one of those. If you don't get there early, you don't get the time to speak. These are ways we can manage it without removing our rights. Thank you for your time. Does anybody have questions?
I'm not seeing any lights, but
No.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there additional public comment? Oh,
Hi, Bill Jensen, Loveland, Colorado. Good evening. I came this evening to say the Constitution is not a toy. Liberty and equality are the brave and brilliant products of revolution, civil war, and many sacrifices, civil and personal. This public body doesn't possess the privilege to discuss my rights which exceed your authority. Our own charter holds the Bill of Rights primary. Your hands are tied. We the people shall speak. Steve Adams' well-known criminal proceedings aren't closed yet. In these chambers last month, he admitted to arbitrarily removing his scheduled performance review from the meeting's agenda. This was consciously done in violation of the Conflict of Interest Clause, AR Item 1, and City Charter Section 5. He did not have the authority to do this. And you also need to examine items 13, 28, and 29 of the admin regs regarding his physical contact with Stacy Lynn, his well-known public political adversary. This public body acts as Steve's supervisor. Tonight is the crucible of your oath to serve. No more dark whispers from the shadows.
thank you. Is there additional?
Jeff Olson, longtime resident of Loveland, Colorado since 1981. Also a business owner here in town of 29 years. Before me, I got copies of a petition to fire Steve Adams. It started 12/10 and already has 104 signatures on it. I've also put together a packet to highlight the AR rules, regulations, and policies of the city with some highlighted areas that you may want to review. Also, I'd like to talk towards Mr. Ball, who seems to be an author of the charter when I look back since 1986, I believe. So with your permission, I'd like to give these to the city clerk.
That's, yeah. And,
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Council. Have a good night.
Jeff, does your petition do first name, last name, address, anything like that? What information it does? Okay, thank you. Is there additional public comment?
Olivia Lowe, Ward 2. don't even know why I come up here. It doesn't seem like anything I say makes any difference. Nobody gets swayed and decisions are made way before you guys ever get here. But if you see something, say something, right? Tonight you'll go into executive session to do a performance review on our city manager. You have summarily dismissed the city's own policies. You have heard this policy read aloud before, so I will just repeat the highlights. If a complaint alleges misconduct on the part of the city manager, city attorney, municipal court judge, a city council member, or an employee within the Human Resources Department, then a qualified external third party will undertake the investigation. The assistant city manager will ensure that the investigation is conducted by a qualified external third party, etc. Moses, you said, and I quote, that a third-party investigator was not engaged due to an imminent lawsuit to be brought on behalf of the victim. Assuming it is the city's intent to investigate at a later date, which is unclear as it looks like the city wants to avoid following policy altogether, then this is a litigation strategy to ensure that the results of a third-party investigation are not subject to disclosure during discovery. How handy. So basically, we have a human resource department that refuses to follow their own rules and regulations, a city attorney that lies to a deputy, and y'all buy it, even though there is video that proves otherwise, and counselors that will defend these lies no matter what. And then they let you retain your seat and you get a raise. When does the miscarriage of justice end? You know, you can speak with all the spiritual eloquence that you like. You can quote scripture. And you could have your constituents believe that you are a God-fearing individual. And you can even pray in public. But your faith does not make you a better person. Your behavior does. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there additional public comment?
Good evening. I'm Tam Paquette, and tonight I speak on behalf of the Disability Advisory Commission that I am a part of, and I serve this distinguished body, and I'm very grateful to be doing that. The fact that you chose me makes me feel very proud to be a citizen of Loveland. And I come before you tonight to talk about something that you're doing right? When you have public comment at 6 o'clock at night, families with children, folks that are taking medications and have to be to bed at a certain hour. Speaking on behalf of the Disabilities Advisory Commission, I really, I feel that when we are being mindful of those who don't have the privilege of being ambulatory, there's certain health conditions and life conditions that mean a lot. And those that want to participate fully and come before this distinguished body and speak to you and try to help in a partnership to serve everyone here in this community, that 6 o'clock time, that's a great time. If it gets moved to later, it's going to become problematic. It's not going to be super user-friendly and helpful. Just like blocking a sidewalk for someone using crutches is, it might not be something for you and me. It might not bother you and I, but for that person, that might be insurmountable. So let's just keep this body inclusive, because I know that's what you really want to be. That's what you've been working towards, and for the year that I've been coming here and speaking before this this council, I know that your hearts are in the right place, so please continue to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there additional public comment?
Well, as the Back to Business group would say, I'm Tim, last initial L. All right, and so we go. By the way, Mr. Fogel.
What?
No.
Hold on,
I can be who I want to be.
Okay.
Stop the clock.
Yeah, please do, Dylan, stop the clock. What is your point of order?
No.
And I don't know.
I can be who I want to be. Come here and prove I'm not. Come on, Mr.
So
Fogel.
let me,
Come here and prove who
Madam
I'm
Mayor, I request
excuse-
Come
recess
here.
until order can be
Okay.
resumed.
Let's have a recess until order can be maintained.
I think, Mr. Lynn, if you would, keep your voice down while
Call the
I ask,
question.
I'm asking the city attorney. So could we please get an opinion there? Is an individual required to give their real name, or is any name sufficient?
Madam Mayor, under your rules, it's not clear. It just says you provide your
Because-
name. What I would say is that council has this opportunity to identify who that person is if you feel the need to do so after he speaks.
Okay, so.
There is
so-
precedent. There is
Does-
precedent.
Okay, is council still
There is
requesting?
precedent. I have identified.
Mr. Lynn, I'm going to ask that you hold on. Okay, so, all right. Second roll call on taking an early recess?
Marsh,
No.
There is precedent.
Overcash,
There is precedent.
McFall,
No.
Ball,
No.
Foley,
Yes.
Sampson,
No.
Vogel,
Yes.
Malo,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
Madam Mayor, the vote was 5-4.
To call a recess?
Yes.
All right, so we will take a 6-minute recess. We'll reconvene at 6:30, and I apologize for the inconvenience. So we will continue with public comment. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak to public comment? See, we have Jane.
Good evening. Kind of a hard act to follow, but don't worry. My name is Jane Collins, Loveland, Colorado. Along with Tam, I also serve on the Disability Advisory Commission. I'm not here to represent them. That would be against protocol. But I did want to make that acknowledged. I am one of those people. If you switch it to 9 p.m., this will be my last 3 minutes. And I do feel that's insulting, especially when I'm volunteering my time to serve you. Sorry, I get a little emotional. I'm very offended by letters by these women and men that try to devalue who I am as a citizen, and I value community. I ran a group home in this community, a state for Reflections for Youth. During that time period, not one stage 1 investigation. We saved so many kids from committing suicide, a 97% successful discharge rate. That's one of the things I contributed to this community. I brought home the bronze when I was healthy and pocket billiards to this community. I have served veterans in this community. I'm a lifelong member of the VFW Auxiliary. I was a officer in the auxiliary for 10 years, post-1781. I did outreach. So when these ladies, and Mindy, whoever she is, devalue us, it's hurtful. So that's one of the things I want you all to consider. It may be legal, what you're doing, but is it moral? Is it ethical? Many of us, we have the time to contribute right now. And that's why we're here. Not back when I was working 60 hours a week, saving kids' lives. And my typical Tuesday night would be at a VFW auxiliary meeting. Then I'd have to clep out to go to McKee this time of year because I had a kid on suicide watch. That's who I am. This is comfortable to come here and speak like this. I very much prefer to bring facts, logic, and research to you. So this is tough for me. So please, don't take my 3 minutes away. And don't take 3 minutes away from other elderly and disabled people and poor people that cannot make it to a 9 p.m. And if you say, well, just go on Zoom, Jane, at 9, that's not realistic. Not if you really know our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tim, or excuse me,
That-
my question is about Tim. Jane, were you at the meeting when Tim was authorized to speak on behalf of the committee?
We didn't have I don't know what happened. Our DAC meeting was canceled last Monday.
So that was, and you do it once a month?
We do it once a month. Yeah, the second Monday.
But-
But it was canceled that day, so
When
I'm not sure.
When they give you your instructions, you're pretty much told not to speak for your committee without a vote, correct?
Well, I'd rather not speak on that. I
hear
feel
you.
uncomfortable. But I just want to let you know I'm not speaking for DAC, but I am a member of DAC.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
City manager, we may want to have Jason as the staff liaison. We may want to make sure he knows about not representing the committee. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Is there additional
Any
public
public-
comment?
I had
Oh, you had, oh,
yeah,
all
just
right.
if I could,
Councilor
for Jane.
Sampson, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for the things you brought to the communities. I didn't know about the pocket or the billiards pocket pool, the
Yeah,
bronze.
took home the bronze.
That's very cool.
Yeah, 423 women, 23 different countries.
That's amazing. Well,
Yeah,
thank you.
and
for
we're not in the Olympics, so that is our Olympics when we go to Vegas.
That's very cool.
And I also took the fourth, kind of unusual. We didn't get a medal for this, but I had a Croatian partner. We were the first Croatian, and we did extremely well. We'd obviously never practiced together because
very
my
cool.
partner I'd practiced with decided to gamble. So.
There you go. Well, that's very cool. I wanted to ask you about this time change, and I actually, just for the record, didn't hear Tam say that she's speaking on behalf of the
Okay,
entire
and I might
committee.
listen to it. I just wanted to
and I
make
know you
sure.
weren't as
Yeah,
well.
I didn't.
so-
I hope I didn't
Yeah.
imply that.
No, you didn't, and I don't believe she did it either.
No.
But what I wanted to ask was, you said 9 o'clock is too late. If there were to be conversation about it being not 6 o'clock, but not 9 o'clock, I mean, you're familiar with the bus system. You're familiar with kind of foot traffic. Having something a little bit later, not something you could attend.
Not me, and I think a lot of elderly. Also, in my 4 or 5 years I've been coming here, speaking on and off on various issues. I want to consider the elderly. I think of all the people that have come before you, the unhoused. That I just don't understand. I really don't understand.
Makes sense. Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate your
Thank you.
response. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there additional public comment?
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, Mr.
All right.
Yeah, Mr. Leonard, come to the podium and please use like a regular indoor voice volume.
Yeah, well, wasn't me that started it.
All right, let's go ahead and start our clock.
All right, Steve Lynn, we happy?
There we go.
Oh, right, very good. I had a number of things I wanted to say, but I did read a letter from Mr. Overcash that was put in tonight. I wanted to address that. I skimmed it, so I'm not sure I got it, but maybe you can help me out, Don. The city council would begin at 6 and run to 10:30, and public comment would begin at 9. Is that correct, sir? Oh, you can't answer. Is that it, Stoneface? Okay, fine. Well, that's the way I read it. And then, if you wanted to comment, you would have to come in and sign in at 8. So what do you do from 8 to 9? What do you do? What do people do from 8 to 9? What do you do? Huh? You sit here and do what? I don't know. And then the city council, they're going on and they're doing business, and at 9, they stop. They suddenly stop. It's time out. And they listen to people. You're going to tell me that's efficient management of business? And then they pick up at 10 and they quit at 10:30. Are you going to tell me that's the way to run a city council? Think about it, folks. It makes no sense. You're putting the citizens out. It makes no sense. Come on now. Think. You're gonna make the citizens of this fine city wait an hour? Why? What are they gonna do sitting out here? Come on, Leah, what are they gonna do? What? No answer from anybody? Nothing? You're shortchanging them. And then you guys are going to suddenly pick up right where you left off? No, you're not. It's a terrible plan. Admit it. It's not going to work.
Your time is up, but I think Councilor Foley, you have a question? Your light is on? No. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Lynn.
The cops are after me already. Okay.
All right. Is there additional public comment from inside chambers?
See, they're opening the door for me.
Good evening, Council. Leah Johnson, Ward 2. Sure. Okay. I just want to make a brief comment. It's just in regards to the proposal about how we change how City Council time is managed. And it's really about how do we make sure people in the community have the ability to express their concerns to council, and also council's ability to get things done that matter for our community, like addressing homelessness, affordable housing, infrastructure needs, all of the things you know that are very important. And one of the things that I haven't heard mentioned tonight in the public comment is another part of the proposal, which I think is actually critical. And that is that the City Council and the city staff officially create a sanctioned public hall system that allows citizens many times, besides just Tuesday night at 6 o'clock, to comment to City Council. It was something we talked about when I was on council, and I think at this point it's critical. It's critical that you do, I mean, the school district does it quite well. As a parent in the school district, I've attended it multiple times, and it's very effective. I can sit down, I can have a conversation with my board members and staff, and I can express my concerns, I can express my gratitude, I can express what needs to be improved. And it's a true, meaningful conversation with many in the community. And so I think as we're talking about this, to remember that there are many options. And one of that's the most important is, how do we get more access to citizens? How do we get them to be able to come and express their concerns on a Saturday morning or a Tuesday morning or a Wednesday afternoon? And so it's not always this time, because yes, this time can be challenging for some. And yes, if you move it to later in the meeting, that will be challenging. So the question is, how do you create more access, not less? And that's really what this was all about. How do you make it equal for everyone to be able to safely express their voice to council at any time? Thank you.
Leah, you're part of the, what is it, Back to Business Now group?
I was, one of the citizens who helped.
Okay, is that as a paid lobbyist? Because I know you do, you are a lobbyist for different things. Are you being paid for this?
I am a consultant and a member of Citizen in Loveland. So
okay.
I think beyond that, I think that's...
Yep, no, I just, some clarification, so I appreciate that. Thank you. Is there additional public comment?
Good evening, Council. Rob Malloy, former council member, Ward 1. Didn't prepare anything. I want to just start off by pointing out something I did last night. And I want to make a formal public apology to Councilor McFall. He wrote an email to the council, stated something that I misrepresented as an opinion in Facebook. I misrepresented because I misunderstood what he was trying to say, and I would like to formally apologize.
No need to thank you.
All right, well, thank you. And I'm here to honestly do that, but I also wanted to make a point that apologies are very important to the people here. That's what builds trust. I think a lot of public comment wouldn't show up. A lot of people wouldn't come to speak for public comment if apologies were made, and sincerely made. I mean, what I've witnessed sitting up there and watching on TV and watching the audience is most people who come here aren't complaining about everyday common things. They're complaining about things that have happened in the city that should not happen. Something that takes away the trust of the city. I think it's just very important that we start looking at what's going on and admit to what we've done and make our apologies to the public for what goes on. And I know that litigation causes us not to do so sometimes, but sometimes we have to go beyond that, as we've seen. So that's all I'm here for. I thank you for accepting my apology. Very important.
Thank you. Is there additional public comment from inside chambers?
Hi, guys. I'm back.
Give us your name, please.
Oh, my name is Jelena Nyquist, but I go by Nina. Otherwise also known as the girl with the big horse dog. And he's currently resting right now because of having to walk around in the cold and stay out in the cold completely.
Nan, can I do the opposite of what we did with Leah Johnson and ask you to pull the mic down towards you more?
You mean because I'm short?
Thank you.
Well, just so we want to hear.
Yeah,
Thank
like
you.
5'2.5" is kind of doesn't get much taller than that, you know. Kind of, yeah. Anyway, I got a question for you. First of all, what do you consider adequate shelter, or for the shelter itself, or in behavior of the employees of that? Are they supposed to be trained on medical stuff since they're going to be dealing with people with disabilities like the ADA and the service dog law and also DBT and different things like that? Or are they just going to be trying to run it like a concentration camp?
When you're done with your public comment, we'll allow the city manager to answer.
Okay, because that's part of it, is because I was banned the 2 times. I went there, tried to go there 3 times. The first time I cried for 45 minutes outside the door, couldn't make it through because of the PTSD that I have from Minnesota, and reasons why I ended up having to go into the homeless shelter in Minnesota. And it's pretty hard to, I'm not going to get into it, but it's very personal and very, very, very close and dear to my heart, but also very painful. Now, going to the shelter here brings up the PTSD from that, so that would be affecting my disabilities. And the first time I went there, I didn't even have the intake paperwork filled out yet. I didn't. Some of the stuff, paperwork wasn't explained to me. The rules had never been explained to me, or anything like that. But my service dog and the one that I was babysitting were being held on a leash by somebody else. He let go of the leash when I came out of the room, but I was walking up to the desk, and because they walked to the desk, which is what he's supposed to do, is stay by me, follow me everywhere I go. That's what he does. I got banned for daytime usage, just like that. Now, that's a service dog law violation and an ADA violation right there by your shelter. Then the next time I went there, the nighttime, it's cold. I have frost nip on my hands. My hands are splitting, cracked, cold, and it's kind of actually nasty feeling and everything like that. And that's come because I was banned from nighttime usage also. Because of a TBI, I have a hard time waking up. I can't just jump and go. So the fact that they have to wake us up at 6:30 in the morning and tell us, oh, no, you can't sleep in. You're out in the tents. Why can't we sleep in the tents until we wake up? Seriously.
All right, your public comment time is up. City manager, can you address any of those? Or?
No, Madam Mayor, I can't. I mean, they're very specific, and thank you for bringing those to our attention. I'll have our shelter manager and coordinator prepare a response to council.
We know how to reach out.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you for coming in. Is there additional public comment from inside chambers?
Hello, Council and Madam Mayor. Vi Wickham, Ward 3. I want to speak positively about my experiences with Steve Adams over the last 5 years. When my wife and I bought a building downtown, we had serious issues with getting our remodel done and working with the building department to get proper permits and all those kind of things. And when the metal hit the wires, or the rubber hit the road, Steve stepped up and he helped us. And he was polite and he was kind. And in all of my interactions with Steve over the past 5 years, of which there have been many, he has been nothing but kind and caring and gentle. And I've seen him deal with counselors who were downright angry and malicious over that time. And the fact that he's able to keep a calm demeanor at those moments tells me that, loads about his character, that this is a man who is as level-headed as they come. I'm generally a pretty calm kind of person, and I think Steve makes me seem like I might be manic depressive because he is so calm. And, I think that for the position he's in, where he's having to interface between city council and all of the department heads, he's an excellent person for that position. And, that's what I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there additional public comment from inside chambers? Okay.
David Goldberg, Ward 1. Happy Hanukkah to all and Merry Christmas as well. I want to start off, I am a little confused and I'm wondering if someone could answer maybe after I speak, and if you can't, that's fine. But this whole issue of changing public comment, I got the impression that topic was initiated by someone not on council, but somebody in the audience. And it would be nice to get clarification of that. I think it makes a big difference if it was initiated by someone in the audience. I think every topic is worth discussing. If it was initiated by council, that would surprise me because I think public comment really works where it is and it should be kept. If something's not broken, don't try to fix it. That's my comment on that. I'm going to continue reading Studies from the Invisible Rainbow by Arthur Furstenberg, shift my gears a little bit from communication, radio, and TV towers to actual cell towers. In 2004, Ronnie and Danny Wolf responded to residents in a small neighborhood around a single cell tower in South Netanya, Israel. During the 5 years before the tower was erected, 2 of the 622 residents had developed cancer. During the single year after the tower went up, 8 more developed cancer. This turned a neighborhood with one of the lowest cancer rates in the city into a zone where the risk was more than quadruple the average for Netanya. In the same year, Horst Eger, a physician in Naila, Germany, examined 1,000 patient records in his hometown. He found that people who lived within 400 meters of a cell tower had triple the risk of developing cancer and developed their cancer on average when they were 8 years younger compared to people who lived further away. In 2011, Adilza Dodi headed up a team of university scientists and government officials of a metropolis in southern Brazil that confirmed the results of all the previous studies. The risk of cancer for the residents of Belo Horizonte decreased uniformly and steadily with a distance from a cell tower. And on February 14th, 2011, the Supreme Court of Italy upheld the 2005 conviction of Cardinal Tucci for polluting Rome with radio waves. A 10-day suspended jail sentence was his only punishment. That's all the time I have.
Thank you. Is there additional public comment from anyone in chambers?
Can that question be answered or
Oh,
no?
I'm sorry. City Manager, could you want to repeat the question, please?
Was who initiated the idea of changing public comment? Did that come from council or did it come from outside of council?
I don't think the issue came from council. There was actually a document that was shared with council, which is on our dais now with the signatures and so forth on it to look at that idea. And it's not just that particular thing, but there's a lot of things in that petition, so multiple ideas.
And thank you for reminding me
No,
to
thank
get
you for that
answer.
clarification.
All right,
That
thank
helps
you.
me.
All right. All right, is there additional public comment from inside chambers? Come on up, Glory.
Hello, Glory Magrum, Ward 3. This may be a moot point because I know you're going to be evaluating our city manager, and possibly some of you have come to the same conclusion I have. This isn't a court of law, although we've talked about this situation so many times. Councillor Ball and Mr. Garcia, if I'm out of line, please stop me immediately. I was invited, as most of the community was, to view the video that Ms. Lynn took of the event. And I went, and I have to admit, at first I was aghast. It looked incriminating, but we were given permission to film that video, which I did. I went home and thought, it's so out of character, but this is what it is. So my husband and I have watched that video just as Miss Lynn showed it, frame by frame, many times. We see absolutely no evidence that you did what has been proposed. There's no jerk of a camera from a shove or a hit or a strike. And I'm just really sorry that this has, been so public and so accusatory, because I do not see any evidence. It seems very inconclusive that you walked by. At first, your face is right there, but then I had to think, are you in a face or are you in a camera? Well, you're obviously in a camera. So again, that doesn't seem incriminating. So anyways, just wanted to get that out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there additional public comment from inside chambers?
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I'm Bob Massaro, live in Loveland. The only reason I'm testifying tonight is I was looking at the agenda tonight, and I saw the article about changing the agenda. What got me interested was the fact that the petition not a petition, but the letters indicated that it's public comment that's causing the delay in what's happening here. That was explicitly stated in those articles, or in those letters, emails, I guess is what it is. The council controls the time. Public comment is limited to 1 hour, period. If it starts late, it's because you guys make it late. It can't run long because it's limited to 1 hour, so it shuts down. If you don't get to the work after that, that's on you, not public comment. So trying to move public comment to 9 o'clock at night, which would be a burden on many people in this community, having people sign up at 8 o'clock, how in the world does that change the amount of work you get done? Whether people fill out a card or don't fill out a card is irrelevant. You control the time. Public comment doesn't. I don't know how much time we're into tonight, but this will end in 1 hour. So if you don't get your work done, it's your fault. It has nothing to do with public comment. And moving it to 9 o'clock is ridiculous. Many people can't get here by then. Just as the thing of having to have a video, some people don't have that capability. So they get locked out. They can't come. They can't do online. My laptop, my camera died. Theoretically, I can't testify because I don't have a camera that works. So you've restricted public comment in the past. And to move it to 9 o'clock, I think it'd be unconscionable. And I hope it doesn't move. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there additional public comment?
Hello, my name's Mary Leonard, and I'm in Ward 4. And I wanted to stand here in front of Steve Adams and tell him, You've done a wonderful job. I hope you get your raise. And what they're doing to you is just cruel and unnecessary and wrong. And so I just want to say thank you for being a good manager, and I hope that this body stands behind you.
Thank you. Is there additional public comment from anyone in chambers?
I'm Evelyn King. I'm a Larimer County resident of 50 years. And in the past, I have spoke to this group several times. And I just want to ditto what the woman just said. Steve Adams is a fantastic city manager. I hope that you will make sure that he gets his raise and that you give him a very good evaluation. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there additional public comment from inside chambers? I'm not seeing anybody else moving. All right. Chad, do we have phone-in public comment?
Thank you, Mayor Marsh. Users, if you'd like to speak during public comment, please use the raise your hand feature. Per council's policies, you must have your video on during public comment. As the moderator calls on the user's name, please accept the pop-up request on your screen to become a panelist. The meeting will automatically rejoin you as a panelist, and you may turn on your video and then begin your public comment. You must be ready to accept the pop-up window request from the moderator when called. User with the name Deb Novak, please accept the request to become a panelist.
First name, I got Novak.
Deb Novak, please turn on your video and begin your public comment.
Okay.
I see. Got it. Hello.
Oh, Deb. Okay.
Deb Novak, Ward 2, resident of Loveland. I'm not sure that I'm doing this in the correct slot, judging from other comments, but I'd like to comment on the development, the new development there north of 57th Street.
And this would not be the time, Deb? Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't go away.
Don't go away. Is there additional phone-in public comment?
Hold on really quick, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
User with the name Anja, please accept the request to become a panelist. Anja, please turn on your video and begin your public comment.
There we go. Can you all see me?
Yep, we can hear and see you.
Okay. Can't get used to not being able to see y'all when I switch to a panelist. My name is Anja Walwells. I'm a resident of Loveland, and I just wanted to speak up about changing the order of the agendas for city council meetings. So I'm one of the people that attends virtually because I can't come in person. I have 2 young kids that I put to bed right around the time that y'all are trying to change or considering changing the public comment to. So at 9 o'clock, I would never be able to speak unless I found someone else to put my children to bed, which doesn't feel like it's a very accommodating thing for any parents out there with young children. A lot of young children are going to bed between 8 and 9 o'clock, and the virtual means gives us the ability to speak up and be heard. The other piece of it is that we would also then be speaking after potentially some things would already be voted on, and that doesn't feel like a particularly democratic process. We should be listening to the public before City Council is voting on anything so that our concerns and our perspectives can be taken into account. It does feel like on some nights when the public speaks before vote happens that it does influence the way things are done, and it's very concerning to switch that. Things may be done in a way that the city is not really on board with, but it's just something that a couple of people are interested in, and doesn't feel like a very accommodating or community-minded approach. So I would ask for y'all to leave things as they are. Thank you.
Thank you. Chad, do we have additional phone in public comment?
Madam Mayor, I do not have any more users with their raised hands.
All right, we'll close public comment, and we kept it within the hour, correct, Dylan? So thank you for keeping the clock going there.